Yo, what's going on? This is MC Jin. Yeah, and you're checking out the Trackstarz. We're in the field, live and direct. Peace.
Yeah, back in the field with the Trackstarz. Ryan Righteous, Seantana, DJ Jeremiah. Of course, I got to explain again why we wearing these outfits for the people on YouTube. Again, our boy Jeremiah got married today to Maya.
Yeah.
So big shout out to them. Still wearing the tuxes from that.
Tell them.
But yeah, so and shout out to C-Beats Productions for these instrumentals. We appreciate that, man. Yeah, so, of course, we got another Noteworthy for you guys. Noteworthy we're going to do now is called Influenced by Hip Hop. All right. It says, hey, Trackstarz, I'm a big fan of the show, and I just want to let you guys know that you encourage me in my walk, and I'm grateful for Christians who stand firm against the world. I need some help from you guys. I have a little brother who is a big hip-hop fan. He loves Lil Wayne, French Montana, Rick Ross, and other hood rappers. My mother didn't have a problem with him listening to them at first. Then their that was funny. Then their philosophies started to shape his identity. He started sagging his pants and started disrespecting me and my mother by calling us hoes and the B word. I tried to introduce some Christian hip hop, but he said he doesn't like knockoffs of the real thing. He said if he's going to listen to somebody who sounds like Wayne, then he just wants to listen to Wayne. We've been praying for him, but it seems to get worse. Now he's starting to hang out with the wrong crowd. What's some advice that you can give us that would help him and others who are influenced by this culture called hip hop? He did like Line for Line, but was biased to the world all the time. Influenced by hip hop. This is a great one. What y'all think?
It is good. It really is. And I think that I first off want to speak in the voice of my man Sincere, who would probably be like, first of all, you need to knock him off his block if he's disrespecting you. Now, but seriously, like that's got to go.
I don't think
he would say that. He would say that.
I don't know if I would say that.
But I think that's one of the things that's really big is the fact that he's disrespecting his mother and his sister. That has to definitely change. That's a pattern behavior based off of like idolizing these people, wanting to be like them, emulating them, and I think that's just a dangerous road to allow him to continue to go down. Like as a parent, and as an older sibling, you do have right to tell him like cease on this.
You might have to put them paws on him.
There you go.
Yeah. So no, seriously, I guess I would say something like that. Yeah. Only because like when you address it like that, yeah. I mean, if he's disrespecting you, calling you, B word and H word and things of that nature, then you need to just step up and say something. Mm-hmm. So I mean, that's beyond hip hop. You feel what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That's beyond hip hop. That's straight up you saying something to me and I got to do something about it. So okay, maybe I would then.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought. When I first heard this, is like, first of all, we got to correct the disrespect issue. Then we can move on to the influence of the music and how we can help him. But the first thing is the disrespect. Now, in regards to the music, him sagging his pants and starting to hang out with the wrong crowd. Hate to say it, man, but most people learn lessons that way. They get with the wrong crowd, they start being something that they're not. And then they realize, man, like, okay, I see it. I see that I'm changing for the worse, or I see I'm making mistakes, and I don't want to go down this road.
But she's thinking all that stuff is on the outside of that. There's a root issue here, and there's a root influence, and that root influence is hip hop. Like,
yeah,
how do we address that? Yeah,
it's hard, man, because I grew up in the South, and so a lot of the music that I've listened to is hood music, and I've never let it get into my spirit like that, Just never let it try to like overtake me and influence me. So what?
You've never done that. You never let it get into your spirit.
Oh yeah, like I used to have certain songs, man. When we were getting ready to go fight, man, we had to cut that on, like get that pumping. Yeah, like that Pastor Troy, do it. Oh man, we used to take our shirts off, ride down the street, and get ready. Oh yeah, we ready? Pastor Troy, Archie, yeah, we did have that. It was bad influence, and that's what caused us to some of us to land in jail, some of us to get into situations that we didn't want to be in, and some of us made the change swiftly because we didn't want that life for ourselves.
I mean, when Get Rich or Die Trying came out, I really thought I was Curtis Jackson. Like, no, seriously, like I got my hoodie, You know what I mean? And I would walk around like just kind of a different walk. Because when he walked through the hood in that movie, you know what I mean? It was so much respect that was given to him. And I wanted that respect because I'm a friendly dude. And I'm tired of being friendly. So, well, no, I was tired of being friendly.
Just my testimony.
So, like, I wanted to walk, you know, I wanted to kind of get that feel, you know what I mean? So I talked to people a little different. And I can see how you could be influenced by it because you want those results. So I see it.
I wonder if it's a phase with him because I went through it as a phase. Oh, I'm sorry. I went through it as a phase. And what I did was I shaved my head. I bought a bad boy chain. And I wrote Thug Life on my chest and took a picture of it. It's in my mom's photo album.
And we gonna find that photo.
It's there. It's there. Toya's at my mom's house now. She can actually pull that out for you.
Good luck.
But the thing is like, it was a phase for me. I didn't really want to be a thug. I really wasn't a bad boy. So that was just a phase.
I think what people in this generation don't understand is that, and I'm not going to get too deep into this, but, you know, most of these artists, they know what they're doing. And this music stuff is strategic. And it's no coincidence that Satan himself, when he was an angel in heaven, you know, was over music. So I feel like this is all just a bigger plot and scheme of the enemy to get into these kids' system and into their subconscious and just wreak havoc on their spiritual lives. But I remember when I was coming up, because I've never been, you know, a big hip-hop fan, but I do like all types of R&B and all type of music. And I still, even now, find myself to this day, you know, listening to stuff, but being able to catch myself and just dissecting lyrics and like, wow, that song's really stupid when you really listen to it. But I remember once when I was maybe like 13, 14 years old, I had gone to a Naked Truth conference at Destiny.
Wow.
And I remember that they were dissecting the lyrics to like this Yin Yang Twin song.
Yeah.
And, you know, at the time the song was really hot. And, you know, when it comes on, everybody's just, you know, getting it, not even really listening to it. But then they actually posted the lyrics up and read line for line what everything was saying. And as I was saying that, I was thinking, this song is disgusting. Like, this song is really stupid when you really hear it back and think about it. So I would suggest maybe, you know, making it that real to him, because sometimes when you're in the moment or you're listening to these songs or you're not even aware of what's happening to you, it takes, you know, someone from the outside really pointing it out to you. Well, first of all, you need to check them for calling you B's and H's, because that's just not right. But, you know, sometimes it takes somebody from the outside actually showing him, hey, like, why don't you check out the lyrics to this song you like? Why don't you check out the lyrics to some of these Lil Wayne songs? Because I'm sure if he really, like, read these lyrics and put some thought into it, he realized they're really not saying nothing at all. Just a bunch of noise. So.
Let's see what I want to say here. I would say, I don't know how old your sibling is. I don't know how young. Sometimes kids will be rebellious, I guess I'll say, and I know that I went through a period where I was rebellious, and I knew that there were things as a teenager that I shouldn't probably be listening to, and I was influenced by it. And for me, my parents sowed seeds in me. You know, my grandma, I didn't always listen to what they told me to do, but I didn't forget it. So if you try to, you know, tell your brother that, you know, these lyrics are not good, you shouldn't listen to it, even if he doesn't want to get with that, sometimes someone just has to wait it out and take their own journey. For me, later on, I realized it was stupid, but I had to go through that myself. And some people just learn that way. I mean, we all know sometimes you got to learn the hard way and go through stuff. But I think that if he's just in a rebellious state, you can't make someone change. So address the disrespect and continue to sow seeds in them. But because you don't see an immediate response, don't think that you're not going to eventually make a difference.
But all these lyrics aren't stupid, though. Like, when even if you had a chance, like, they're not all stupid. Like, some of these are genius lines. Like, and that's probably why in some people's instance they can look at somebody like a Lil Wayne and then look at somebody like a Drake and say, man, those people are really, you know, not, they're great because they say stuff that kind of makes sense to them, and they're very carefully and you know, really how do I want to put this? They're charismatically done, and they're actually brilliant lines. You know what I mean? They come up with some great metaphors. They come up with some great similes. They're not just like, they're not stupid all the time. You know what I'm saying?
They may not all be stupid, but if it's affecting someone in that way, then it's not good for them to do that. Because it's having a negative effect on them.
Yeah, but she sees that, but he doesn't see that.
Yeah.
I think she's talking more like Waka Flocka Flame and people like that. Like when you say hood music.
Wayne. She said Wayne.
She said,
Rick Ross.
Yeah, oh yeah.
But I disagree with the notion that their lines are brilliant, because what are they saying that you couldn't come up with?
Well, that's part of what line for line is. There is a talent to rapping. What?
Oh, he was looking for a mic. He was like,
oh. There's a talent to rapping that you can be good at it even if the actual words you're saying aren't very good.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So, like Wayne, for a long time, he was one of the best rappers, even though what he was talking about was ridiculous.
Right.
But he was still good at it. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's what Sincere is referring to, is that some of these people are actually really good at rapping. So I think your brother may be, attracted to that, and he may not see the same skill level with the Christians. I think what stood out to me the most is how he said that we were knockoffs.
Yes.
That stood out to me. So it's interesting that he's seen line for line and he does vote. What I would be interested if you do a response is, when he votes, do you make him explain why? I want to know why. Because if it's just, I didn't like what he was talking about, maybe he not a Christian. I mean, have you thought about that? Maybe he isn't a Christian. I think a lot of people assume you're the kids in the house, because you went to church and you kind of grew up raised as a Christian, means that you're a Christian. That doesn't mean you're a Christian. This kid may not have accepted Jesus as a personal savior. You see what I'm saying? So maybe this is more of a fear. Now, if he does, and he does claim Jesus, and he does say he has a relationship with Jesus, then at some point, if that's true, Jesus is going to check him on this. I think everybody gets checked on this from time to time, because, I mean, even us at this time, we'll listen to songs that are on the radio or some new that come out by so-and-so, and if you listen to it too much, or to me, I don't like listening to music more than once or twice, but if you start hearing yourself listening to it all the time and you start soaking it in, even we have to check ourselves. So as you get older as a Christian, you start to realize, okay, that's crazy, that's too much, I can't listen to that, and you start developing a discipline with it. But your brother, I assume, is young. He may not have developed that discipline, and he may not, I hate to say this, but he may not have a personal relationship, because if he doesn't, then this is irrelevant. Like, this is just another kid listening to hip hop.
It's a perspective change, and I think that's exactly what you're talking about, and that's what I was trying to get at earlier, where the lyrics aren't always stupid, and they're not always whack or dumb, or the lyrics aren't always kind of whack and off. Sometimes they're really greatly done. Should I turn the mic away? Here?
Yeah.
All right, good. All right, here we go. All right. Sometimes the music is pretty, well crafted, but when people listen to it, if they have a perspective, they have a worldly perspective, and they look at things from a worldly aspect, they will love what's being said in the world and what's being promoted in the world. They're gonna be drawn to that. You see what I'm saying? And they're gonna shy away from what's happening.
Now, question
for us, yeah.
You're basically saying that you can listen to it and separate the good stuff from the bad stuff. Like, you can listen to the talented metaphors and realize that him talking about the girl's butt is that stuff you need to throw away.
Are you saying me personally?
Yes.
Can I listen? Yeah.
Yeah. So, but is that your skill because you're an artist, and this is kind of like your, not, I guess, research, or what's the reason why you're listening to them at all?
So for me, it's what I'm saying from a different perspective is, I'm saying when he's listening to, let's say he's listening to line for line, right? And he's listening to artists that are very similar, and maybe they go back and forth. And so if he hears like a Christian artist, he says, I don't want to listen to that, I want to listen to the other thing, or I believe the other one won. You know what I mean? I believe the secular artist won. It's because of his, like you said earlier, maybe he's not thinking like a Christian because that's his perception. His perception is a little bit different. His perspective is a little bit different. He's thinking like somebody in the world. And that's what I'm saying.
What's going on in the music he's listening to now is more appealing to him than what's going on in
yeah, because what I think we always shout out when we talk about hip hop is the violence, the sex, all that kind of stuff. But the biggest thing to me that hip hop does, and it's even something that's an issue with Christian music sometimes, is pride. Pride is one of the biggest sins. Pride is probably the original sin, because that's what Lucifer's issue was. He thought he was better than God. So that's pride. That's to me, that's the first sin. So pride is overlooked. People accept pride as an okay sin. You see what I'm saying? Oh, he's a little prideful, it's all good. But pride is probably the ugliest sin, because pride says that you may actually be putting yourself above God. So I think the pride in hip hop causes the saggy pants. It causes the disrespect to women. It causes all that kind of stuff, because it says, I'm better than you. I don't have to treat you with the same respect I treat myself. You see what I'm saying? So pride, I think we need to tackle when it comes to hip hop. To me, that's the biggest problem in hip hop. Everything else is, you can find that in every other type of music.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So,
but that pride is appealing, man.
It is.
And it's so appealing because you have so many people with low self-esteem. Yeah. You have so many people who just...
Think about Drake's new song with Soulja Boy. We made it. We made it. That's it. The whole song.
And Soulja Boy, I'm sorry that you shouldn't be on that song. But for the most part, like singing, we made it a lot of times. Like
people feel like, we made it, but you didn't.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And honestly, in my point of view, neither did Drake.
You say what?
I don't think he made it either, because we got to change our perception on what is made it. Like, to him, he made it. No, so the kids listening are like, oh, he made it. I want to make it, so I got to be like him. To me, Drake didn't make nothing. His life is not made it. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, shed light.
That's not what that means. You know what I'm saying?
You have a different perspective on that.
People's concept of we made it now is what the Bible calls the root of all evil, the love of money and acquiring things. So people feel like, the youth feel like, if I'm acquiring things, or I got my bread up a little bit, or I look a little bit more fly, I made it. But that's not even, they don't even understand at this juncture in their life that has nothing to do with your life, and at the end of the day, it's not going to save your soul. And I think once more youth wake up in that way, then they'll start to realize just how foolish all that stuff is.
Yeah.
I think even like Christians deal with that too, because you look at, the Kirk Franklins or the Mary Marys, or they're doing big things, or they're making it, and we throw that around, that term around, and it's like, that's not the definition of making it according to God's standard.
Yeah. And we may do a topic on that. What is making it? What is success as a Christian? Because I don't think people know. I think even us in the room from time to time get confused about success. Sometimes we complain, our numbers went down. But we're not thinking numbers as in, we're reaching souls. It's just numbers as in radio numbers, as in attention. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? And it's like, it's not about that. Who cares? You know what I'm saying? So that's to me, that's another topic. And I think it has a lot to do with hip hop, because I think hip hop needs to listen to that topic. I don't think hip hop gets that topic. So your brother, I think he's just, caught up in it. I sense that there may be some racial stuff going on in here too. I don't want to dwell on it, but it also seems that you feel that he shouldn't be influenced by hip hop. Do you sense that?
You getting that from the hood comment?
A little bit. And I don't know for sure, but there is something to that where you feel like this culture is not his culture and he's being pulled into the culture. Yeah. I think it's a little more alarming because you can see it more easily. Like, as a kid, if I got pulled into the culture, you wouldn't necessarily be able to tell, because
it's all around me.
Yeah, I may wear the clothes, even if I never listened to hip hop growing up. I wasn't allowed to. Your brother, for the life of me, I don't know how old he is, but if your mom don't like it so much, well, how does he have the stuff? How does he have the music? Yeah. But I wasn't allowed to get music like that, and maybe because iTunes is a little bit easier for him. But I wasn't allowed to get music, but I still wore the clothes just because. I mean, you go to school, you buy what you see. So, but if he's not in the typical culture and you see him leaning toward the culture, it may be more obvious for you because you see him going from the khakis to the drop down jeans. So that's why I feel like there may be a little racial, and maybe you could clarify that when
name the artist again.
Come back.
Oh, we're going.
Wayne, Montana, Ross, That's all they mention.
Yeah, those are like some disrespectful artists. You know what I mean? They could be like outright like so. Some people give people like Drake a pass because they're a little bit more sensitive towards women. Yeah. Kendrick, they'll give a little bit of a pass. You know what I mean? But when she's talking about hood artists, she's saying that these people are outright disrespectful to women. Oh yeah. You know what I mean? Their lines are directed at women in that fashion.
And what's crazy is Lil Wayne was asked by Stephen A. Smith on First Take or Skip Bayless on First Take, do you care about the effect you're having on kids? And he says, no, kids shouldn't be listening to my music. Yeah. But I'm not going to stop doing what I'm doing. So it's like there's like a dismissiveness to, they know what they're doing. They know the effect that their music has, but they just don't care because of the money, because of the success, because it works.
But they blame the parents just like you just did.
No, they don't care. They say that because they know they got to say something about it.
That's what I'm saying. They can fall back on that. They can fall back on blaming the parents. Just
they can fall back on that. But still, again, it's everybody's fault. It's everybody's fault, I think.
It's not my fault.
And so we'll see, man. Hopefully that helps a little bit. If you have any control over his life, how old is this kid? There's a lot of influence you have by just turning it off, not letting him do stuff. I mean, if he's like 19 or 18, that's a different thing. Let him go.
Right. He's 18.
There's another option. Your mom could let him go. Let him live. If you want to go wild out, let him go wild out. I mean, that is a Christian response to somebody acting like this. If you want to go live that life, go live it. If you make it back, God bless you. But if you don't, that's your decision. Yeah, that's a Christian response too. So, but to me, I get the sense that
you can stay prayerful for him.
Of course. You're praying that he comes back, but you can't physically hold somebody down and be like, be a Christian, love Jesus. Like, that's not going to work. Yeah. So, that's if he's older. If he's younger, I think your mom has control over this kid. You could regulate a little bit of this. You're not allowed to wear this. You ain't getting no money. You ain't getting no money to get jeans.
The Bible says, spare the rod, spoil the child.
Whip his behind. I mean,
you need some rods going on in this.
So stuff like that. I mean, that's the options you have. But as a sister, you just got to pray for him. You just got to pray for him. I love the fact that you try to get him to listen line for line. Does he ever vote the other way? If he ever does, then feed off of that.
Do we have to address this thing where he calls Christian rappers knockoffs? Like, that's a huge line right there. When she said that,
and
like, that's huge.
That's where I was gonna go, and we gotta move on to the next one real quick. But I don't ever want anybody to think